everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is AJ for those of you who do not know already, and today we are going to be doing a what I read in 2024. So the first book I read in 2024 was Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, and I rated that a 4.5 stars. I don't have any of the Harry Potter books with me right now. I mean, I do, but they're on a shelf and they're like special edition ones, so I don't really want to touch those. I don't want to dirty them up. But I went to the library and rented or like took out all of the Harry Potter books to read, so I don't have any of them with me right at this moment. But yeah, so I rated that a 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed The Chamber of Secrets, but I enjoyed The Prisoner of Azkaban, which I read next a little bit more, because I rated that a 5 stars, which is my first 5-star read of the year. I really enjoyed The Prisoner of Azkaban. I enjoyed the book. I enjoyed the movie. It's always been one of my favorite movies, so I always just like that one. Next, I read Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, which I rated a 3.5 stars. I rated this lower because it took me so long to read, so but it was still a good read. I really did enjoy it. It took me a lot longer than the other books. Next, I read Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, which I rated a 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed that book as well. I really enjoyed reading the Harry Potter series, and I did take a little bit of a break, though, from reading that. So the next book I read was The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. I rated this a 3.5 stars. It wasn't my favorite book by Leigh Bardugo, but it was still a good read. I didn't enjoy it as much as I love the rest of her books, but it was still a good read. It was my first like non-YA book that I read by her, because I haven't read Ninth House yet. It's on my list to read, I just haven't read it yet. Next, I read Wild Love by Elsie Silver, which is the first book in the Rose Hill series. I rated this a 4 stars. It wasn't my favorite out of all the books, but this was definitely up there. I did really enjoy this book. I loved the characters. I didn't really enjoy some parts of it, but other parts I really love Elsie Silver's writing and just everything about her. Next, I read Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, which I rated a 5 stars. I loved the movie, so I wasn't that surprised that I rated this a 5 stars. I really enjoy the Harry Potter series, as you can tell by my, Harry Potter stuff up there, and I have a Harry Potter tattoo as well, but whatever. Anyways, so I rated that a 5 stars. I really enjoyed that book as well. Next book I read, well, I more listened to it, was Legendary, which is the second book in the Caraval trilogy. I didn't really enjoy it as much as I enjoyed Caraval. It kind of like, I kind of DNF'd Finale, only because like it just wasn't as good as Caraval. Like it was one of those books that I felt like didn't need more books. Like it could have just been wrapped up in Caraval. It wasn't as good as Caraval, because I really enjoyed Caraval, but just something about Legendary and Finale, it kept going down after Caraval. And then over the summer I read The Duke and I, which is the first book in the Bridgerton series, which is a very long series. This follows what's her name? Daphne and Simon. I really love this era. I like reading this era of books. I think Regency era? Yeah, Regency set series. So I really liked reading in that era, so it was very interesting. I'm hoping to get to at least the next couple of books this year, so hopefully I can read a little bit more. And then for my next 5-star read, I read Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan, and this was by far the best book that I read in 2024. It was so good. The only reason why I read this book was because Destiny Sidwell had recommended it in one of her videos, and she just went on and on and on about how much she loved this book. So I'm like, okay, well, I gotta read this book now. So I read it, and I fell in love with this book. I have so much stuff highlighted. So many quotes are just so good. Let me try and find one. Like, I don't think love is supposed to be transactional, which is very true. Oh my god, this quote. Oh my gosh. You get a dog and you know 2 things. You're going to fall in love with it, and it's going to die one day. You knowingly walk headfirst into a heartbreak. That's the basic madness of dog ownership. And as a dog mom myself, wow, that really fricked me up. It's both a terror and thrill to know you could fall. Ugh. Like what? Ugh. Read this book, please. It's so good. Next, I read Wildfire and Daydream, which is part of the Maple Hills series. This is like the second and third book after Icebreaker. These were still really good. I rated them both a 4 stars, but they just weren't as good as Icebreaker. I did love the characters. These characters in this book, Russ and Aurora, oh my gosh. I love Aurora and I love Russ. Henry and Hallie, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? This book was so much better than Wildfire though, I will say, because this one was like, it's a little bit longer than Wildfire. And I mainly listened to this more than anything, but it was still so good to listen to. And I won't tell you what happens, but Henry does something for Hallie at the end of the book, and I just literally was going, oh my god, are you kidding me? Like the entire time, because it just made my heart so happy. But I did really enjoy those books. Next, and before you say anything, I read a Colleen Hoover book. Now, before you say anything, hold on. I read this book because my best friend Sarah was like, you need to read this book. So I was like, okay. So I read it. And it was a 5 stars. 5-star read. And I just kind of ignored the fact that Colleen Hoover wrote it because, you know. Ugh. But this was such a good book. It had me crying at times, like actual tears. Like, I don't cry a lot with books, and I cried with this, and it was just... I wish I could read this book again. Then, to finish off the Harry Potter series, I read Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, which I rated a 4 stars. It was such a good way to wrap up everything. Obviously, I know what happens and, you know, all that stuff, but it was such a good way to wrap up the end of the series, and I think J.K. Rowling did a very good job of writing it and everything like that. I don't really like her, but, you know, she's a good writer. What can I say? Then I read Off to the Races by Elsie Silver, which is the first book in the Gold Rush Ranch series, which I rated this a 3 stars. This isn't my favorite series that she's written, but it was still a good read. It just wasn't my favorite. Definitely not anything too special, but it was still a good read. It just wasn't anything too special. Then I had my very first and only DNF of the year. And it was, before you get mad at me, don't get mad at me, The Hobbit. I know. I don't like The Hobbit. I never have. I watched all the movies and they weren't interesting to me at all. I don't know why, because I love fantasy stuff like that, but I just didn't enjoy it. And I tried to read the book because so many people were like, oh my gosh, you're reading Harry Potter, you should read The Hobbit. And I'm like, okay, finally, I'll read it. And I got like halfway, not even, and I was just so bored. So many people that I told that I DNF'd it were like, really? You're gonna DNF The Hobbit? I'm like, yeah, I know, I'm sorry. I don't know what it is, I just don't enjoy it. I don't know why, I just didn't. Then I read Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros, which is the second book in the Empyrean series, I think. This is the second book to Fourth Wing. I think that's what the series is called, though. I don't know. Anyways, I rated this a 4 stars. It was very good. It wasn't as good as Fourth Wing, but it was definitely a good read. I did get really mad, though, at times because Xaden and Violet were just always fighting, and it was really annoying. So I was like, guys, come on, just make up already. It just, it made me so mad. But it was still a good book. That part, like, that's why it wasn't higher. It made me so mad. And then I read Kiss Her Once for Me by Alison Cochrane, which I rated a 4.5 stars. This book was so good. I love this book. The plot was so interesting, and it's basically about these 2 girls, Jack and Ellie. They spend Christmas Eve together, and like they meet each other at a coffee shop, and they spend Christmas Eve together, and they have a wonderful night, and they fall in love at first sight. And then something happens that they don't tell you right away, and they don't talk to each other anymore. Then Ellie, she doesn't get the promotion that she wants at the coffee shop that she works at. So the landlord, Andrew, takes her out for a drink to cheer her up, and they get to drinking, and he's like, I have to get married in order to inherit $2 million. Do you want to fake marry me and I'll give you 10%? And Ellie, being like broke and just not knowing what to do, she's like, okay, sure. So she does it, and the only condition that Andrew has is that she has to come spend Christmas with him and his family. So when she gets there, turns out Jack is Andrew's sister. What? So I really enjoyed this book. It was such a cool plot. Everyone I told this, like, the plot of this book to, they were like, whoa, that's such a cool plot. I'm like, I know, right? So this is a very good book. I highly recommend reading this around the Christmas time. And then to end this year off with a bang, I read Apprentice to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer, and I rated this a 5 stars. This is the second book. I don't know what the series is called, but this is the second book to Assistant to the Villain. I love the banter. I love the characters, the fun, and just, it's so funny. Like, this book had me, like, giggling and kicking my feet because it was just so funny. And Evie Sage, I love everything about this girl. She's just, I love her character. Alright, that is it for today's video, guys. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked, hit that subscribe button down below, and leave a comment if you've read any of these books or if you plan on reading any of these books. Let me know. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!